Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to hold my hands up. I have clickbaited you completely. Kind of. So, from the video title and the thumbnail and the description, you will be here to find out how Hikaru Nakamura became the Freestyle World Chess Champion. But, to make it abundantly clear, Freestyle Chess does not have a world champion at the moment. Remember, they are having a huge fight with FIDE about the use of the World Championship, or calling their Grand Slam Tour the World Champion. But in 2022, there was the Fischer Random World Chess Championship done by FIDE, and it was won by one of the most popular chess players in the world. And his name was not Magnus Carlsen. Magnus Carlsen only finished third. In a video that will be coming out later this week, I'm going to talk to you about how good is Magnus at freestyle chess. He has not won a world championship in this format. But there is a man who has, and it's one of these two. Now, in 2022, they had 8 players play this event. They were in 2 groups of 4, and then the top 2 qualified for semifinals and then a final. This was the final matchup. It was Hikaru Nakamura and Ian Nepomniachtchi. Now, funny enough, the previous Fischer World Champion, Fischer Random World Chess Champion, was Wesley So, who was also in this event but was not able to defend his crown given the format and stuff. It's a very difficult way to play chess because it's not conventional. Anyway, this is the setup they had for the final. Looking at it from an outsider's point of view, you're like, okay, b3 is going to be there to open up the bishop. The same for g3, to open up the bishop, and then it's going to be about putting pawns in the center. The knight can still go to f3 as per normal. The king actually, if it goes long, doesn't have to move. You just move the rook over there. But to go short, it would be considerably more effort. So we could probably see long castles. It's going to be the easiest to execute. So let's see how the players play it. Well, we start with b3. Let me see if I can change the move classifications. We don't need to know every time there's an alright move. I suppose we're going to have it, I'm afraid. So you're going to see the green and the stuff, but hey, is what it is. Now you know. And then we see b6 as well. So we can see fianchettos, we see pawns put in the center, and now the other fianchettos are opened. f4. Traditionally, not a good move because you weaken your king, but your king's not where your king normally is, so we move. f5. So far, the players are playing a game of whatever you can do, I can also do. But eventually, someone's got to break the symmetry. Takes, bishop takes, pawn takes, and now some stuff is going to happen. I don't know how this isn't the hanging of a bishop. I suppose because that bishop in the center dies. So you grab a bishop, I grab a bishop. In inaccuracy, it is better to take with the queen. And apparently this position is what is much preferred by the engine. I think white already has some advantage. But bishop takes e5 is played. We take the pawn, we retreat the bishop. The black bishop also retreats, not to the perfect square, but that's fine. Knight develops. Queen comes out, which is a mistake. It's already difficult for Jan, but he does have a couple of moves here, namely the king b7. Fianchettoing the king. Yes, we were trying to fianchetto a king. But hey, what can you do? Queen h5. Queen f2 is a miss from Hikaru. The way to capitalize on this is playing queen e2. Offering a queen trade. Stockfish is continuing to claim that white is better in every endgame and you should get the queens off the board. I don't blame Hikaru for keeping the queens on because you can't see the clocks here. I made a decision. I could either go back on chess.com to the event, find the event page, and then we'd have the timings and stuff. Or I could have this where it would show you like brilliant moves and blunders and we'd have the move classifications. So comment down below if you think I made the right decision to go with this or if you really, really, really want the clocks. It was an Armageddon game and Hikaru's with white, so he has to play for a win. And can play for a draw. Anyway, knight develops. We get the knights developing and the rooks coming out. And now we get the fianchettoed king. It still looks insanely stupid to me. How do you fianchetto your king when you've got a bishop right there? Why wouldn't you just castle? Like, you could get your rook out and castle long. Like, you don't need to fianchetto your king, but I suppose it's faster than castling. d4 is a mistake from Hikaru because it allows knight to g4, hitting the queen and forcing knights off the board. Although not really, because there's a nice tactic here. But it doesn't work. So Hikaru probably thought, well, if takes, knight takes, and we're fine. You're not as fine, because what can happen here is queen to h6. And that is a horror blow, because you get hit like this with the pin, and you just can't protect that knight. Anyway, queen takes f5 was played. Knight takes f5. The knight did grab this pawn. And now Jan is actually the one that's better in pressing. The knights get forced back. The bishop's developing. It gets closed out. The knights continue to dance around the board looking for good squares. But Jan made good moves. Like, there was no inaccuracies or question marks. In fact, Hikaru's made an accuracy. But considering here, knight takes h2. It's 0.07. To get to d6 and it's 0.2. You've probably missed a slight chance. And now it's going to be about who's going to be the most accurate. So we managed to grab the bishop. And here, Hikaru is winning. If and only if he plays rook be1, which he does play. And then we get rook takes e5. We sacrifice the rook. We give up the exchange. Plant the knight here, but it is already going poorly for white. So Jan probably thought he had the tactic here. Forking the two rooks. I don't know if he missed it, or I'm sure he would have calculated. The only move to keep advantage here is rook e8, because obviously if you take my rook, I take your rook. So the rook has to move over. We do lose the pawn, but now it's just perfect endgame technique from Hikaru. Jan makes one further mistake, and now the rook and the knight infiltrating. We're always going to keep offering rook trades. We get the knight for the bishop, so now it is purely a rook. You're up in exchange purely. We protect our pawn. We target the other pawn. Now we're going to wrap the rooks around. We give a check. Lovely move again. You would say, why is it a great move? Because everything else is level. This is the only move with the king to keep advantage. You don't bring your king forward. We give a check. We force the king up. And lovely here. We move the rook over. An inaccuracy because it now results in mate in 5 for Hikaru Nakamura, who finds b4 check, king c4, and the death blow, rook h5. And Hikaru Nakamura defeats Ian Nepomniachtchi in the final. You would kind of get a feeling that you're very happy for Hikaru. If you're watching this and you're a Hikaru fan, he's won a world championship. But you kind of get the feeling that maybe it wasn't such a bad thing that Jan, in 2024, did get his hands on a world championship. He's come so close so many times, against Magnus in the Classical, against Ding in the Classical, against Hikaru here. It was actually really happy to see him get one in 2024, but Hikaru was the victor on this day in 2022, winning the Fischer Random World Chess Championship by defeating Ian Nepomniachtchi. Rook to h5 sets up a mate. It's unstoppable. The only way to prolong mate, it's mate in 3 regardless of what you do. What you do is take. You've sacrificed the rook, and knight to e5 is here. You sacrifice the knight, you give it up. Because the king's got nowhere to go, it's boxed in completely. Rook c3 is going to be the winning move, so we play e3. And this is just a checkmate. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it has been entertaining for you. I hope it has been demonstrative. I know I'm doing a lot of freestyle chess content at the moment, but it is such a fascinating format. There is a reason why lots of players, not just Magnus Carlsen, wanted to be featured more prominently, wanted to be part of the schedule. It is an amazing format. And we're going to talk about how even the world's best have struggled in the future and will continue to struggle. But what did you think of this video? Let me know in the comments down below.